Guess what, y'all? Guess what? I can see dead people. Okay. Yeah, it's corny. I get it, but yeah, it's all in good taste. It's about the film that we're about to review, and that film is Darby and the Dead. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film Darby and the Dead, coming to Hulu December 2nd. Now, first of all, I do love the title of this film because anytime you see "and the Dead," you start thinking of like Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, all those sorts of "and the Dead" films, and or of the dead, same thing. And the fact that like it sort of is a play on that definitely is going to make people intrigued. But yeah, it's not actually dealing with zombies. It's actually dealing with dead folks, but in a different capacity. But nonetheless, yeah, I was like, okay, that's cool because it's a lot better than what it used to be titled, which was Darby Harper Wants You to Know. And that's just, And I actually think that like the concept of that probably was like something different than what the actual end product of what this film is. But yeah, when I started watching this film, I was just kind of like, it's okay. Really not for me. I'm not the target demo for it. But by the end of the film, I was like, you know what? This did tell a good message. I enjoyed it. I laughed a little bit. Sure, it was corny at times, but it certainly had its relatable moments and messages. And overall, I was like, yeah, this wasn't a bad film. So I totally would suggest people to check it out. I think the cast is fantastic. I think the demo for this film is going to love it. But I think for all ages, I think everybody will find something to kind of take a liking to with this film. Now, speaking of the cast here, we have Riley Downs, who is our star in Darby Harper, and she is alongside of Auli'i Cravalho, who is the voice of Moana. Like, okay. So, and it's kind of eerie because she plays the character Capri, who in a tragic school accident, she dies right before her Sweet 17 party. So at times we see her as in ghost form, what actually does this look like a normal person. But at sometimes we kind of just hear her voice and I'm like, okay. I know that voice, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a funny it's kind of a funny performance at times. We have my man Chosen Jacobs, who recently was the star in Sneakerella as Alice. We have Asher Angel as James from the Shazam franchise, and then we have my guy Derek Luke, who I've been watching for years, who looks exactly the same as he did 20 years ago as Ben, who is Darby's father. So at a young age, Darby lost her mother, and at the same token, she almost lost her life. And in this tragic accident, in losing her mother, she gained the ability to now see and communicate with dead folks. And she didn't take this ability to gain stardom, popularity, or any of that source. Quite frankly, she did something very noble, very honorable. And what she does is she communicates with these dead people to help them get closure, to then help them in the transition into the afterlife, that bit of peace that they need in order to move on. So it's a really sweet thing that she does. But with all of this, she's still processing her own grieving, and this has sort of isolated her. She doesn't really communicate with the outside world or the living. She communicates with these folks as it's sort of her job that she's not getting paid for in helping them. But eventually she ends up going back to school. Her father convinces her to get back into school, and it's a challenge for her because now society has just been a total 360 from what she used to know it to be. I mean, you got the impact of social media. Obviously, you got cliques. You got all these sorts of different things that, like, her being an outsider is not going to make her any more comfortable than the outsider she already had felt she was the entire time. But yeah, this is when she meets Capri. Capri is the head of the cheerleading squad, so she gets all the bells and whistles, the popularity. She got the top hot guy in school, all of that sorts of different thing. She is the chosen one in school. Everyone has that top couple in their high school and whatnot. And it happens to be Capri, but Capri is also very bullyish towards Darby. And, you know, Darby just tries to stay out the way. But at the same time, Darby does have like a little sense of hate to her because she looks at all these other folks who's like kind of living their life. And she definitely judges them by everything they do because it ain't what she is accustomed to doing and how she would operate. But yeah, Capri definitely bullies her. And like I said a minute ago, in a very freak accident, Capri is killed or dies. She's not killed, she dies. And you know, that changes everything because, you know, now, you know, there's a sense of like there's this sense of just her absence from the schools that changes the dynamics, the cliques, the leadership of the cheerleading squad, and all that sorts of different things. But Darby has this ability where Darby can see the dead, which of course Capri finds out that she has this ability, and she comes back to communicate with her, and they're not friends at all. I mean, Capri is like, listen, I got a lot of things I need to do in the living and I can't. But of course she can interfere in some capacity with the living world, and that sort of puts Darby at her mercy of saying, you need to do these things for me because I want my impact to be felt, otherwise I'm just going to make your life miserable. And this unlikely relationship really kind of grew into a friendship eventually, and that's sort of the journey of this film, is this unlikely two that become friends because they get a sense of peace with one another. I mean, Capri helps Darby get cool, and that seems to be a good thing until it's not, and it's a lot of different things goes on between the two of them. I'm not gonna spoil anything about that, but like that's the journey, is, you know, trying to get Capri her peace with being dead, and Darby, you know, being able to move on with life, you know, dealing with her grieving, dealing with this responsibility of Capri that she's put on her, and then obviously, you know, they're both trying to find peace at the end of this. So but yeah, like I said, there's some laughs, there is definitely a comedic aspect to this. I mean, heck, Darby breaks the fourth wall the entire time, and it's cool because they do it in a way that, especially towards the end, that I think really works towards who she is as a person and her abilities and so on. And, you know, some of the other characters I mentioned, they're going to make impacts in this as well. I don't want to give anything away. But overall, I think, you know, anybody in that target high school, mid-teenager audience, I think they're going to enjoy this because it's going to be kind of reminiscing or relatable to their high school experiences. And I think that the actors really do a good job in making characters likable or unlikable, but still makes you pay attention to them. And I just think that it was just a film that, like, I wasn't expecting to come into this overly loving. A part of me didn't know what to expect, but in the beginning I was kind of like, oh, I see what type of film this is going to be. I mean, because let's keep it 100. In the passing of Darby's mother, they really made light of it, and I thought that was going to be like a heavy, deep moment, and they didn't. They went right on to the next thing, and it just was all about just Darby and just her processing of everything, the processing of her mother not being there, the processing of her mom not coming to see her in the afterlife, her getting acclimated back into society, especially into how rough high school life was, and then obviously this responsibility of Capri, who now is dead, making her do her work, and they're not even friends. So there is that. But yeah, if it sounds like something you like, totally check it out. Darby and the Dead, again on Hulu, December 2nd. Jump in the comments once you do check it out and let me know your thoughts about it. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.